Thank you for joining my session. I'm registered psychotherapist. Thank you for joining my session. I'm registered psychotherapist qualifying in Ontario, and every day we are sharing science-based psychology in my YouTube channel. And today we will be discussing about performance anxiety, March Madness psychology, and we will be discussing what happens when everything comes down to one performance and why people are performing worse when they are working under pressure or when at high stakes situations, why the performance decreases, and what can be done if you want to support yourself and perform better. March Madness is the most visible version, but the structure appears differently everywhere. So if you don't think that March Madness is experienced just by athletes or high achievers, we can see March Madness in everybody's lives. While, for instance, a student when trying to submit their assignment, that's important for them, or somebody who is trying to speak in front of audience, or it can be academicians, teachers, or anyone who is working under stress and who cares about their performance might experience March Madness. An interview that, for instance, decides whether you get the role, or the pitch that determines whether the company survives another year. And what makes these situations psychologically distinct is not that they are difficult, but there is no recovery mechanism, or because it's too important for them and they place a lot of importance for them. And human nervous systems respond to that specific condition in predictable ways that we can understand, prepare for, and work. And today we will be sharing these strategies that you can use if you are experiencing similar situations. And different modalities are approaching these challenges from different perspectives. If, for instance, cognitive behavioral approach is more focusing on the problem, trying to understand the problem, and solution-focused perspective more focuses on solutions and what can be done to support the person to find, and it sees the person as capable and believes that they can perform well and that they can cope with the challenges they are experiencing. And when we look at simple elimination moments, whether it's the final second of a tournament game, a high-stakes job interview, or a critical presentation, our chests start to tighten because our minds start telling a very convincing story that if this doesn't go right, everything falls apart. And if you are sitting here and if you are trying to learn something, this means that your performance matters for you and you care deeply about what you are doing. And in solution-focused perspective, we don't spend too much time deciding how heavy the burden feels or digging through every route that caused or trying to understand why the stress makes us nervous. Instead, we choose on focusing on honoring your competence and shifting our perspective toward what you want instead, and what you can use to achieve this desired outcome and desired version of you. For instance, think about athletes like basketball icon Michael Jordan or tennis champion Serena Williams. When they stood at the free throw line with 0 seconds left on the clock and the entire championship riding on a single shot, their nervous system also experienced the exactly same feelings, psychological spike that we are experiencing, maybe racing pulse, shallow breath, tunnel vision. However, what separates them and what helps them to succeed isn't that they don't experience this feeling, isn't the absence of fear, but their ability to connect with the exceptions, or to focus on what they can do at that moment, what they can control. And exceptions in solution-focused brief therapy is simply any time when a small piece of desired outcome, your preferred version of you, was already present or happening, even just a little bit. For instance, you can try to ask yourself, when was a time recently when you faced a high pressure situation Maybe it was a deadline or a critical evaluation, and even for a fleeting moment, you felt steady, you felt confident or calm, or you were able to focus on what you were doing, and you succeeded. And what exactly were you doing at that moment? What helped you to succeed? Where was your attention? And what were you doing differently? What was the environment? What was your mindset? And what difference did it make for you to be able to stay calm or confident? And what impact it had on other people? And how would you know that this sense of confidence or patience or calmness is there if it started to show up? And even in the middle of chaos, your brain has already successfully has managed high stakes moments in your past. And paying attention and expanding on those moments can help you to give insights on how you can achieve this state again. And also noticing about those moments would help to decrease anxiety, and also to remind you about your capabilities, that you are capable of change, you are resilient, that you already experienced that successful, calm, confident version of you in the past. And in a normal competitive season, maybe you will not be so concerned if you fail or if something goes wrong. But when the stakes are high, and when this performance is important, uh, and the cost of losing is high, you might experience even more anxiety and stress, because a single elimination removes the whole performance, and every possession carries potential finality, and this changes the appraisal from challenge, demand you have resources to meet, to threat, where the potential loss dominates. So when the stakes are high, we are more focused on what we may lose, and about the worst case scenarios, and we are more focused on what might stop being ours, or what might go wrong. And this actually makes us even more stressed. And when we place attention on possible negative outcome, this activates our threat alarm system, which makes, according to neuroscience, when you are stressed and when you are on a threat mode, it will be more difficult for you to concentrate and to make decisions or to regulate your emotions. And that's why your performance falls. For instance, Jim Blaskovich's biopsychosocial model gives us physiology here. Challenge appraisal produces increased cardiac output with vasodilation, expanded blood flow to muscles and brain associated with approach motivation and optimal decision making. And threat appraisal produces increased cardiovascular output with vasoconstriction, narrowed vessel, restricted flow associated with avoidance motivation. That's how explained, like when you are under stress and when threat mode is activated, you will have an impaired working memory, degraded performance, and same arousal but opposite physiological and behavioral consequences. That's why noticing your thoughts before performance and noticing where you place your attention is important step, and redirecting your attention towards controllable cues, or deciding in advance what you are going to do if you start to focus on possible negative outcomes is the first step towards change. For instance, there is a term that's called choking, and according to research, people who are highly intelligent or high expertise skills in their professions are more prone to choking. It's because they can detect their own mistakes, and since they have high expertise in their profession, when they get stressed, they start to monitor their own performance very closely. And if during the training, for instance, certain behaviors or actions became as automated and they don't even think about it and they focus on the next step, during the high stakes moments, they start to follow every detail of their own performance, which makes it more difficult to focus on the next step. And when they notice that there is a slight mistake, for instance, this may impact their mood and their ability to continue with performance. That's why setting certain activities or deciding about what you can do if the choking starts, for instance, noticing your breath or focusing your attention on what you can control or whatever was helpful for you to ground yourself, to come into the present moment, can help you to give some insights if you will be experiencing choking during the performance. And single elimination competition, high-stakes situations create powerful psychological trap. When there is no tomorrow, athletes begin to treat the present moment as if it must contain the entire outcome. And your attention shifts from what can I do with this possession to what if I fail. And in solution-focused approach, we are offering a different starting point rather than arguing with the athlete's fear or anxiety of a person who is trying to convince that this moment is not important. We can redirect attention towards what's possible, like what's available, and who do they want to be even in this stressful situation. And instead of trying to eliminate or delete anxiety or fear, which is not realistic, we can ask ourselves, if you were able to use this pressure or stress in a way that served you, what would you want it help you do? And this shift moves attention from threat to preferred performance. An athlete is no longer required to eliminate arousal before performing. Instead, they start to see it as a normal process, and they stop being afraid or scared of anxiety. And another interesting fact is that athletes and high achievers, successful people, they do not ignore that they have anxiety or fears. They start to see it from a different perspective. They see it as an excitement. And if you set, for instance, a goal for yourself to stay calm or to stay 100% confident, this may not be very realistic because everyone is experiencing certain uncomfortable feelings during performing, and it can be difficult to shift from anxiety to calmness during a stressful time. But they choose to reframe their fears and anxiety as excitement and as an information that tells them that their performance matters. And in that sense, it stops being a threat or a fear. It becomes as an information that carries certain information that this performance matters for them. And I see it as a reminder that this performance matters and that they get excited about performing, about doing their job well. And therefore, athlete is no longer required to eliminate arousal before performing. Instead, they begin identifying the version of themselves they want to bring into the next session. So their focus shifts from how do I stop fear, how do I delete anxiety. They start to focus on the person who they want to be, even in the presence of stress, even in the presence of uncomfortable experiences. For instance, if you could play the next possession in a way that would make you proud of who you competed, regardless of what happens on the scoreboard, what would you see you doing? How would you be responding to stress? Maybe you will be able to see what's happening around you more clearly. Maybe you will be able to connect with present moment, communicate with a teammate, or you may start to trust your preparation, or attack decisively, or stay connected to the next play, next movement. These questions transform the meaning of the moment, and instead of focusing just on the final destination, you start to focus on minute by minute, like process focused. You start to set process focused goals, and you will try to do the best you can each moment with your each step, and this actually what makes it possible for you to succeed. And why favorite is a disadvantage is that it's the part of March Madness psychology that generalizes most usefully and surprises people every time. The higher seeded team carries expectations. They think about their coaches, that they may disappoint their coaches, or they are carrying a lot of responsibility because the failure may have financial consequences for the team or for their family, and it might impact coaches' reputation, their recruiting, their own futures, and all of it is concentrated during the performance, and it also may cause difficulties with performance and stress. But this is a loss frame position. Like everything we have mentioned so far is focused on possible losses, everything to lose, comparatively little to gain. And the underdog is in a game frame position. Nobody expects, like, if also there are a lot of critiques around you, if people are constantly criticizing you or just seeing negative features from you, this also might have made you more self-critical and focusing just on negativities, on your failures or mistakes or negative sides that you are having also can cause difficulties while performing. And Cyan Baylock's choking research explains why self-monitoring matters so much. Choking occurs when performance pressure causes attention to turn towards the mechanics of a highly automated skill. Like if, for instance, you were already doing something in an automated level, when you start to monitor yourself closely, this can cause decrease in performance, decrease the quality of performance. And therefore, when you shift your focus from monitoring performance to the next step you can do, you actually leave cognitive resources available to increase your quality of performance. So you are the one who is going to notice where your energy, where your attention, where your efforts go, and redirect it towards the person who you want to be at that moment. Baylock and Carl found something else worth knowing in the cognitively capable people who tend to watch sessions like this one. People with the highest working memory capacity were the most vulnerable to pressure-induced situations and performance decline on cognitively demanding tasks. So this means that high professionals and people who have a lot of expertise and skills in their field can also choke, and actually people who have higher levels of empathy or who know their job better are more likely to choke. It's because of their expertise. They can use this knowledge on themselves and monitoring themselves. That's why if you are experiencing choking, don't blame yourself or don't think that there is something wrong with you. It just shows that you know your work well. So if while trying to perform your mind constantly goes into loss story, you can turn it into a gain story, and you can shift your attention towards what you can gain, what you can control, what's the next step you can take. And some people are also using such strategies as writing down your thoughts and worries before performance, and what might go well, what might go wrong. And during the performance, this makes your mind more relaxed, and if you will have similar thoughts, maybe you will have less impact on yourself, or you will be able to reframe them since you have already prepared for them in advance. And yeah, and some people are also using some calming strategies, relaxation strategies before performance that helps them to calm down and to release stress. So we tried to share we tried to share science-based psychology and modalities from different approaches today, and we discussed about choking. I hope that this was a useful use of your time. See you in the next videos, and take good care of yourself.